Take the blood
Speaking of murder,
and smear it.
Kill him out of respect.
Bake it. No, you have to saute it first.
tonight, perhaps the most iconic scene in all of D&D, dinner with Strahd. This is Roll Q. Real stories, real people, real consequences. Let's introduce our players.
Hi, I'm Spencer. I play our drow cleric, Silith, and then I also play our NPC, Mariel, who is a were-raven fighter. But she's not attending the dinner. She didn't have a dress.
Hi guys, I'm Shannon, and I play Changeling Warlock, Oksana, Velarova, and Ireena Lays.
Last time, oh wait, I need to take a drink of coffee.
Ugh, me too.
I have a matching mug. Mine says cleric.
Dungeon Master.
Warlock.
Did you guys get yours as custom mugs from Ironworks Pottery?
I did.
Big thank you, Meg.
Thank you.
Fully functional, microwave and dishwasher safe as well. Ironworks Pottery. Last time, you made the journey by carriage to Castle Ravenloft, and there you met the vibrant Anastasia and the broken Sasha, as well as renewing your acquaintance with Escher, Volenta, and Ludmilla. Before the entrance of Count Strahd himself, finding some time alone with Sasha, Oksana learns she is the spy Aragol talked about and set an after-dinner meeting. After incredibly awkward small talk, Rahadin announces that dinner is served. Wonderful. Thank you, Rahadin. Come. He'll turn and walk briskly towards another. Strahd says, come, before it gets cold.
Silith turns to Oksana. You look like you've seen a ghost. Are you all right?
I am, but I think maybe I saw a ghost. And I can't do this without my glasses, you guys. I'm literally like, I'm a different person. Yes.
I saw a ghost and it was me.
Well, everybody can see my makeup first, and then my messy, dirty glass.
Glasses look great, Oksana.
Thank you. I have a special optometrist. His name is Belinsky. Sasha, one of the brides, she take me and we see a dead person, or maybe not dead person, hanging, dripping blood off of them. And then leans in. And then I realized that we had been gone for too long. So then we came back. It was all me.
That was smart.
One, the Sasha is probably the ally.
I am going to walk ahead now so it doesn't look like we are planning anything and pretend to be very entranced with the artwork on the hallways.
That sounds great.
You do so and you enter the dining room. For as run down as much of the castle has been, this room is magnificent. 3 huge crystal chandeliers, walls of white marble with what seems like it might be original stone pillar supporting the ceiling. There's a big heavy table, long white satin cloth is covering it, beautiful silver china, and each place also has a crystal goblet that has a delicate but pleasant smelling amber liquid in it. And against the west wall, almost as tall as a window itself, is a giant pipe organ.
It's on a cast message. By the way, I forgot to tell you, probably most important thing in this session is that we are supposed to, at a specific time, I am supposed to hang back, and I cast message again. And sorry, I forgot. I'm supposed to press up something with the thing that makes the organ, not the body, is the playing instrument organ. Anyway.
Silith messages back. I appreciate you clarifying organ between bodily organ and a musical instrument. We have to be clear on those two things between us. I think I'm running out of words.
Sometime during or after the dinner, or where the tour, or like, I don't know, maybe he will play musical chairs or something whenever they leave. I'm supposed to stay back.
So we need a distraction?
I'm not sure. Maybe he will distract himself. That's what we do. We get him talking.
Strahd will sit at the head of the table and he'll say, let's make this more intimate, shall we? He snaps his fingers, and as you watch, the chairs furthest from Strahd are pulled out and whisked away by hands that seem invisible. And now there's only the 3 closest to him. There's 2 on one side and 1 on the other. And he'll gesture welcome. Where would you going to sit?
Well, that's a tough one. Are the brides with us?
No, there is no one in this room except the 3 of you and Strahd. Rahadin, actually, after you came in, bowed his way and the door is shut. You did not hear a lock, though.
So the layout of the table...
The table is right in the center. There were probably like 9 or 10 chairs, but invisible hands have pulled away the ones that are furthest.
Ireena, she will start walking closest to sit next to Strahd because I think that she's resigned herself to. He's probably wanting me to sit there, and Oksana will walk faster in front of her and say, "You can sit next to me." Pulls out the chair and sits down. I don't know if Strahd's sitting down, but she totally did.
He is.
This is a great place you got here.
Thank you.
So does that leave the single chair over on the opposite side? Are you guys sitting next to each other?
Ireena hasn't sat down yet. If
Okay.
she's right there, it would make sense, I guess.
Silith is going to take her time. How long is the table?
Oh gosh, it probably seats about a dozen normally.
So, similar to how she walked the perimeter of the room, she's going to walk the perimeter of this table. And I think it's reminiscent to her of formal dinners she's had before, but she's used to being at the head or near the head of the table. So, it's a little bit of a change as she walks over to the remaining chair. She does not sit as well.
Lady Silith.
I was just admiring the upholstery. It's nice. What
Yes.
century?
Oh gosh. I believe everything in this room is, well, over 1,000 years old. I did, of course, have them start to focus on fixing up this particular room once I knew that I was going to invite you to dinner. It would not do to sit in a place dusty and cobwebby. Even I do not have enough help to keep the whole place spick and span, but I hope that this room is adequate.
I am quite impressed, and she takes a seat. What color are the napkins?
The napkins are blood red.
I don't mean to be that guest at fine dining. However, since I'm wearing a black dress, I was curious if I could have the napkins switched out.
Sure, you'd like a napkin to match your dress.
Yes.
He'll snap his fingers. You hear a door open. Rahadin looks in and he says, Rahadin, I'll be needing a setup with a black napkin, please. Yes, my lord. I'll step out and be just a moment then for that. If you don't mind, shall we go ahead and begin serving? I don't want the food to get cold.
Certainly.
Very well. Snap his fingers again, and platters start floating towards you. And they get near you. The lid pulls off all by itself.
Flosh.
And a spoon comes and starts to give you portions onto your plate of everything. And it's a lot of food. There's meat in the savory sauce. There's sweet fruits, vegetables, bread and butter. There's all kinds of things. Turns out what's in your glass, if you give it a little sniff, is mead. Strahd is also served the food, but you'll note that his glass is filled with a red liquid rather than an amber liquid.
Sorry. It's really good coffee and a really great mug and a really long straw. Sustainable.
Rahadin enters as if on cue and he says, my lord. And he'll hand Strahd the black napkin. Strahd will smile at you and kind of remember the exchange you and Rahadin had. And he'll say, I think I take it from here, Rahadin. Thank you so much. There you are, black to match the dress.
Silith mentally takes pleasure in the fact that a dusk elf is having to fetch this for her.
He will look at you, turn to Strahd, nod, and begin to exit again.
Is there anything that Ireena would pick up from Strahd that is off? Not that she knows him really well, but just is odd based off of her interactions.
Make an insight check.
Nat 20.
Smoking. First roll of the night. She picks up that he is genuinely excited, and she also picks up that he maybe doesn't care about you, but he does care about hosting well. He actually wants this to be successful. He wants you to have a good time. He wants the food to be good. So that, I don't know if that's off or not, but it is perhaps unexpected from someone who tried to kill you about 36 hours ago.
So Ireena says, I can't help but feel a little uneasy here, considering you did try to kill us recently, and actually you did. I'm wondering if there's anything you could do to set our minds at ease.
Well, I do suppose that is the large direwolf in the room. I was angry. Perhaps I overreacted. It is not easy to be in a place that you are unfamiliar with, and it is not easy to know your place. He'll look at Silith when he says that. I did not actually try to kill you outright. I mean, if I did, you'd not be here. But I wanted to make sure that we had a mutual respect. I felt I had been a good host to you and a good lord of this land, and I felt some, ingratitude. But I think we've all learned now, and we all know where we stand with one another, and I do truly hope, I've been looking forward to this dinner so much. I do truly hope we can let this go.
Certainly.
I'm glad you brought it up, though. There is one other large direwolf in the room. The dwarf, the wizard, the stone man. Where are they? They just vanished.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the dwarf and the wizard and the stone man who accompanied you for the first week or so that you were here.
This week was longest year of my life.
Fair.
I figured you could tell me. This is your land. You probably did something, although they probably deserve it for leaving.
I did not have anything to do with their disappearance. But if you do not know, I had right to ask at least. You know what? Let's go ahead and dig in, please. We don't need to stand on the ceremony. Let's fill our bellies a little, and then we can talk afterwards. I always hate the idea that we all want to be eating, but we can't because we've got to talk. And
Is he lying?
make an insight check.
Ooh, I rolled a 4, so.
You don't pick up anything yet. You do remember that Strahd has said repeatedly that he has never lied to you. You have not caught him in a lie yet.
Oksana intentionally didn't bring them up after they left, really, at all. Because I don't think she really wanted to know if they left on their own terms. But I do think that she does think Strahd had something to do with it. And honestly, I don't even know that she cares. But I think that that's what she thinks.
With a 4, you would still think that. He'll pick up a knife and fork and start cutting the meat like everyone else. Please.
Would like to have my dessert first.
I'm sorry. We're not quite there yet. Trust me. That fruit and that bread and butter is sweet enough.
Wait, there's butter here? Wait, where?
So yes, on your plate, there's already a perfect cube of butter next to your bread.
This is very little amount of butter, but I will make it work. Can I have your
Yeah.
butter, Ireena? She just picks up her plate. Have anything you want. And she just looks at Strahd.
The food is excellent. The meat is good if you try it.
May I inquire something? I was curious why you're going through the motions with your food. You're not planning on actually eating it, are you?
Alas, no. I am not planning on actually eating it. There are 2 reasons. One, I don't want you all to feel uncomfortable. It would be odd at a dinner party if you were all eating dinner and I was just sitting back holding my drink. Secondly, and more to the point, I do find that there are certain times that I do miss eating normal food. This was certainly one of them. I sat at a number of dinners over time and I enjoyed most of them. So I think the ritual of cutting the meat and spreading the butter on the bread, I find it a bit comforting.
What was your favorite food? Alive, if you could taste it again.
Apple cobbler. That's an easy one. Just the right amount
Apple.
of cream.
I don't know if I've ever had apple cobbler. What did you like about it?
It was sweet, not too sweet. It was... I do miss... You know what I miss most, honestly, is not taste, is texture. A good crunch. It's just... I've not had it in so long, I've almost forgotten what it is. There is a sort of crunch when you first sink your fangs into flesh. It's not quite the same. What is your favorite food, Lady Silith?
There is a mushroom risotto that is quite lovely. You know, the last time I had any alcohol was in the Underdark. It doesn't really look appealing in daylight, but it's very nice.
What's the flavor
but it
of the
wasn't-
dark green wine?
Well, I would say it's very bold, almost like me not trying to go into wine, whatever. So there are very fruit forward, a little bit woodiness left over from the mushrooms and has quite high alcohol content. So usually nice legs on the glass. You'll forgive me for being so terse. It just, these kind of gatherings, I'm usually making sure who's poisoning who, and I'm not used to being a guest. I'm used to being the one who's doing the killing, and it just brought back some wonderful memories. I'm glad that you enjoy
Apple.
cobbler, or you once did.
Oksana, what's your favorite food?
You're talking about texture, and I think that we could create an apple cobbler. It could be so exciting. It really could be like food art. Like, we could take the blood and smear it like flat, bake it. Actually, no, you would have to No, you have to saute it first because there is glucose in there, so it will caramelize. And then you smear it, and it ends up becoming like, I don't know, like caramel. And then you dry it, and then it's broken. So you're eating blood that's crispy blood. And it can go on top of your blood organ apples.
It sounds wonderful. Oksana, where did you learn such gastronomy?
It is, my friend is top chef, and he knows lots of things. His name is Tom. It's very boring. He has no hair.
All right. Devil's in the details, isn't he? Miss Koyana?
Has she said, actually, have you said
I don't
anything?
believe so. It would be... I feel like the food in Barovia is very Russian. So it'd be something Russian. I think when you had dinner with them before her father died, they made borscht.
I like a pastry that has quite a lot of layers. I don't know. You couldn't put a lot into one bite.
Sounds lovely. Locally sourced farm to table. This was an enjoyable talk for me. Alas, he'll lift the glass with the red liquid. And
Really want to ask what vintage he's drinking.
Who
Of
is
blood.
it? Yes, please
Yeah,
ask.
who is it? When were they born? How long have you been letting their blood breathe?
Yes, I was actually wondering about... I feel like I read Silith's mind. She's very good with the wines. And she's recalling what she saw with the body and the dripping blood. And so how do you acquire your wine? Like, who makes it? Does someone show up and be like, buy it to me? Like,
sometimes, listen, all men must act according to their natures. All people must act according to their natures. It is the nature of strong to bend the world to their will, just as it is the nature of the wise to accept the world as it is. There are tyrants in the world who place heads upon pikes for the sins of someone else. Emperors who starve their subjects of bread and gold alike. I do not deny that I take what I require, but all lords demand their due, and I take no more than necessary.
did you want to be a vampire or vampire?
No. I accepted the dark gift. I thought that in return I would... Well, let us just say that when I accepted this dark gift, the person I accepted it from did not fulfill their side of the bargain.
What color eyes did they have?
Green. He'll look at Ireena when he says it. Green like Miss Koyana's.
Ireena immediately looks down. Does she have red hair? Was it she?
She did have red hair. I regret that... Miss Koyana, I do regret how uncomfortable this makes you. It's not truly my intent to... I mean, it is my true intent to, as I said, a lord must have his due, but I can imagine how disorienting it must be for you. Disempowering, perhaps.
It's disorienting. I'm open to what you have to say. I would like to get a second opinion.
That's very fair. You were in Villaki, Miss Koyana, and I'm told you learned something about your real family.
We would like to give a shout out to Heather. I believe Heather has commented on every single episode since the very beginning. Very detailed comments too. I won't speak for everyone, but I know as an actor, when you are acting and there is no applause, it's very difficult.
It really
Thank
is,
you
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, she knows
thank you.
much about D&D, so it's
So
like,
much.
what is it that I am supposed to be saying here of all of
Well,
this?
the truth is that you found out that Isaac Strasny was your brother. Your parents, when you were lost, they, in the grief of losing you and...
We learned this?
Yes, it's in the genealogy book.
And what did you ask again?
He asked, what have you learned about your real family?
Not as much as I would like to. And frankly, I don't really want to talk about it.
It's all right. I can understand.
I don't think Ireena wants to lie to Strahd, because I think she knows it's very likely he'll know.
Lady Silith, I couldn't help but notice when we were sparring that you certainly have the magic one would expect from cleric of a god. What god do the drow worship?
Loth, always Loth. She is our spider queen, our lady, and she punishes those who die and rewards those who don't.
This jibes with much of what you have said. I am interested to know, however, can you hear her in Barovia? Does she still speak to you?
Of course, just not in the... well, it's not in the way you would expect. And she's visibly uncomfortable for those who are just listening right now.
Go ahead and make either persuasion or deception. You don't have to tell me which.
I rolled a natural 20.
He'll say, so you find your faith useful. I'm interested to hear that. We've only had the Morning Lord here, and he's somewhat dimmed. This Lolth must be very powerful indeed to be able to speak with you through the mists.
Yes, absolutely. Do you ever go to the Morning Lord sermons here? Just kind of show up?
I'm not often invited. I did grow up worshipping the Morning Lord, as almost everyone I knew did.
It's difficult to imagine you as a child. Which pew did you like to sit in?
Always the front. I was very small. I could not see from the back.
That's interesting. Well, the abbot seemed very interested in pleasing you, and yet you're not welcome. Is it just certain churches?
What can one say about the abbot? He's an odd creature. He's quite taken with his own whims and fancies. I actually find his obsession with faith a bit off-putting. I certainly bear a certain respect for the sheer depth of his dedication. He spends a lot of time trying to impress me. Many here try to impress me. It is not easily done, though. I am fickle.
Ireena, she's just cutting into whatever is on her plate, and she just keeps digging into the plate, puts her utensils down really, really loudly. What is going on here? What are you expecting to happen after tonight?
I expect that we shall finish our dinner and you'll have a spot of dessert. And
Why does it matter? Why do you care? I'm really, all of these riddles, I don't mean to disrespect you. Obviously, you've been here for so long. You've come up with so many riddles. But I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable for the reasons that hopefully are obvious to you. But I don't know you. And if after tonight you expect something from me, I'd rather you just be upfront about it. Please.
Miss Coliana, I do not have expectations about what I want from you or what you desire from anyone. As I said, I take only what is required. I do feel, for many reasons, as though you are a requirement for my happiness. I hope through acts like this dinner that you are at now, I might show you perhaps that it is not all bad. And you've met my brides and quite content.
You can't leave this place, can you?
I cannot.
Would it make you happy to leave?
It would.
Do you have to give up something great to be able to leave?
Yes.
Is this your greatest desire?
Miss Coliana, if you are trying to insinuate that I might give you up in order to leave the mists, first of all, I'm not sure that's true. I think the mists might like to keep you.
I'm certain. I'm just wondering if it will be during dinner that you kill me or...
I don't mean to kill you at all.
Okay. And she just, this straightforward conversation, realizing she's not going to get anywhere. Oksana the whole time is like, this is great. This is really good. She'll kind of nudge Ireena like, I like where you're going here. This is fantastic.
Oksana?
Yes.
What did you do before the little man entered your head?
Well, I know a lot about blood because I was murder artist. Actually, it's not true. I would have to murder people, but I kind of like it. It was really murdering the right people. It was not just murdering to murder. It was not like bad guy. But then I really loved to really make statements. And so I used to work with the guild. They just call themselves the guild in Baldur's Gate. I don't know if you know of them. They did not appreciate me and wanted to get rid of me. So that's how I fell in with the little man in my head. And she'll stop. Are you listening to this, little man?
It would be an exercise in futility to ignore this.
Is there anything I need to say or not say here?
You're doing great.
And so too, I have come to you as murder artist. So should there be any blood of terrible things or people, I am happy to do some art for you if you let my friend Ireena go. It's fantastic.
I don't think I'll be letting Ireena go, though it will be so sad to miss out on your murder art. And speaking of murder, the powers you must have been given them by the little man in your head, if I understand how it works. So if you were killing people before that, how did you do it?
What do you mean this how?
I mean, you could not use magic to set them on fire or shoot any number of things at them. You would not have had such magic before the little man, if I understand correctly.
Right, well, first I will say I was very amazing when I was younger, like everybody knew. So I would get a mark, which apparently that's what they do in the world. And this was target. And I would find out everything I could about them and why they were needing to go. And usually the guild only wanted them to go because of the guild, what they wanted. But I would find the reason. And then I would do things like persuasion or deception or my favorite. Basically, I would convince them. But really, I could go into it. I have examples, but I do know we need to move around and move on. But anytime, I can just pull one out of the air and tell you everything.
You hear the door open behind you. You hear Rahadin's voice as he steps in and he'll say, "Are we ready for dessert, my lord?" Strahd will kind of look at you. "Are we ready for dessert?"
Yes.
Sure.
I think that is a yes, Rahadin. Thank you. Silith, when Rahadin comes in and speaks, what would Strahd see on your face? Are you trying to hide something?
No, she's not trying to hide anything. She's probably trying to calculate something when he comes in, because I think she would remember, I would think she would know a little bit about Dusk Elf history. So she's just kind of what she does remember learning together. I would think as a strategist, now that I'm saying this out loud, she's probably trying to figure out the relationship between them because she hasn't met him yet. So if he is Strahd's Chamberlain, she's trying to see, okay, this is his second in command. How can I manipulate this person?
As the door shuts, Strahd will look at you and he'll say, "Oksana, I don't remember if you were here for this. Lady Silith had quite an exchange with my Chamberlain Rahadin. It was steeped in a lot of bitterness, even though they clearly have not met."
She is very good at this.
It seemed so. Lady Silith, what was it about poor Rahadin that drew your ire so?
Well, he's male and he's a dusk elf, and that combination is not delightful. But I thought I reined it in pretty well. I didn't try to kill him out of respect for your home. That's a big step for me.
I am interested to see that is what reining in looks like. I am glad that you did not try to kill him. He is quite hard to kill, I think. And, well, I would have regretted if anything had happened to you. So when you say that he's a man, I understand that. But when you say he's a dusk elf and that is a reason not to like him, why is that? Has Rahadin himself done anything to the drow, or is this simply
The dusk elves were, well, they were a neutral party in one of our forming wars in drow history, and they did nothing. And well, it seems like to me that the people you keep close must bring you something of value. And truly, I'm not blowing smoke here, but you are a good strategist. And I'm puzzled as why you would pick a dusk elf for you.
I will answer that question. But first, why wouldn't I choose a dusk elf? What is it about a dusk elf that would make one unworthy of choosing?
My God, the player right now and me is so excited for this question. Yes, please, bring the lore.
Do you want me to start with their character? Or do you want me to start with their cowardice? Do you want me to start with their incompetence or their... Also, I haven't heard how Rahadin is described in this game. What does he...
He is...
Gosh, you really could have done censor. Gosh.
Just want to make sure I've got the interpretation. Everyone plays him different.
He's very powerful. He's very smarmy. He does seem to be extremely faithful to Strahd. He quite enjoys being the instrument of Strahd's punishment at times. I can't remember. I think the party learned that Rahadin, when Strahd first invaded this valley, there were lots of Dusk Elves, and Rahadin was actually the one who betrayed them. And that led to the Dusk Elves being mostly killed and the rest of sort of herded up into a ghetto of sorts.
Victors usually write the history books, right?
Yes.
So please correct me if I'm wrong. But I seem to remember, well, one of the punishments for the Dusk Elves, they had to kill all of the women in their species and the children. Is that true?
I certainly have not heard that story. I'll be sure and ask Rahaden. That would be quite a story indeed. To kill all one's women would be to, well, effectively end your entire culture, given time. I know that elves live a great many years.
I was just going to say that, well, I'm working on modesty and humility, and we all have our battles. It would be a very strong power move to do so, because, as you mentioned, we live very long lives, and why kill everyone outright? Why not just prolong the torture?
Rahaden might have more in common than you wish. I'll ask one more question, then I'm happy to answer yours. You speak as though all Dusk Elves are all the same, that they are all perfidious, that they are all cowardly, that they are all one thing. How many Dusk Elves have you met before, Rahaden? And even if you had, why would you paint an entire culture with such a broad brush based on what sounds like history books?
There is no masking her face here. She does not like this question because it is calling into question everything that she has built her life around. She's going to snap a little bit. I've only met one, but one is enough. Should I don't know if I can answer that politely. And I realized how frustrated you got last time I spoke my mind, so I'm perplexed because I don't know if you actually want an honest answer or you're just toying with us. I'm not used to sitting on this side of the table, Lord Strahd.
I took umbrage with what was a very obvious small rebellion. I don't think that you being impolite to a species or culture that I have nothing to do with whatsoever. I'll have you know, I have killed more Dusk Elves than anyone you've ever met.
How many?
Me personally, or my army's entire?
Body count. No, you personally. I'm not really concerned about your...
At least 30. There were hundreds here. Now there are less than 10, including Rahaden. I always like to leave a few behind to tell the tale. If I kill them all, who would be there to tell the rest of the people how strong I was, how ruthless I could be?
You make a good point on your ruthlessness. You know, people think drow were serious, but we do keep bards around for just that purpose if they're not particularly irritating. Because you're right. What's it all worth if no one's going to tell of your greatness? Since I've been here, I've been, what's the expression? It's about turning over foliage.
I believe it's turning over a new leaf.
Yes.
We don't really have seasons here, but I remember it.
I've been turning over a new leaf, and Silith she's calculating because she knows that Oksana mentioned that they need to be able to be in this room alone, right?
We know that she needs to be left behind. Did Sasha specify that it needs to be only me, or obviously it makes sense for Silith to go and not stay.
She didn't specify. Above the table in terms of narrative, I feel like since there's only 3 of you, it would be odd for Strahd to take one person on a tour. 2 makes more sense, so I feel like it makes more sense for just you to stay behind, story-wise.
Sana. Another thing I was just going to bring up as above and out of game, I think what makes what we're doing really compelling is the idea that we are playing NPCs. So I think the more we show us, we don't need to add it, but I don't think we need to cut out just asking questions about how Ireena or Muriel, I know Muriel is kind of now in your Spencer, you can make her what you want. Australian is amazing. But for Ireena being like a core participant in this, I really think it's really important for the viewers to see that, number 1, I don't have a script, which I don't. And number 2, that we're telling the story the most accurate that one would receive it if they were playing. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think about a lot of questions that I agree 100%. And I also think oftentimes when questions are asked, they are questions that a viewer might ask. If we don't remember everything, why would we think that a viewer would remember everything? And we're constantly saying, jump in here. Well, if you're jumping in here, they don't know anything.
I wonder if, it's totally on a tangent,
I think it's great.
I wonder if instead of, or in addition to, or in a natural, organic way, if we can take things like a recap over the last few episodes naturally into the beginning of an episode as we start, That way we are giving those breadcrumbs to those people that basically putting in what you said, but really naturally, I guess.
I think if it depends on how long you want that to be, I guess would be my answer. If we're going to try to keep it short, it has been like a minute to 90 seconds, then I'm not sure I can do too much of that and also refresh the previous episode.
I think you do exactly what you're doing. And then as you want to, you go, oh, I can't remember who got bit or whatever. I want to keep that in. Or, Spencer going, I wasn't here for this. Like, I want to keep that in because then most of the people watching this weren't here for that, which is echoing what you were saying. I'm going to lean into displaying that, especially for Ireena's character, because I feel a responsibility. She's a key part of the story. So.
I think people will appreciate that. Whereas Oksana and Silith are entirely yours. I agree 100%. So the doors will open and you'll be brought a chocolate cake. That will be your dessert. They're already pre-sliced raspberries. It is the darkest chocolate.
The dark chocolate?
It is so bitter. It's amazing. And as it is placed in front of you, Strahd will say, the reason I chose Rahadin as my chamberlain and my right-hand man is for several reasons. Number one, he's been here longer than I have. He knows things about this land that even I do not. And when I first chose him to be at my right hand, he knew a great deal more than I did. Also, by being willing to turn his back on, well, his entire species, he showed both a ruthlessness and a decisiveness that I appreciate. But he also showed the ability to... Rahadin's very loyal. In over 1,000 years, I've never once questioned his loyalty. To have someone that is as martially capable as Rahadin, who knows as much as he does about this land and a great number of things, to have him be willing to serve me, to be honest, it speaks well of me. I don't think Rahadin would serve just anyone. I must have done something to deeply impress him.
Well, I must admit, I'm a bit jealous. I don't think I've ever had anyone that's been loyal to me for, well, longer than a decade or so.
If I'm understanding your culture correctly, I wouldn't take it much to heart. I believe you're set up to fail in that regard.
You would think. Perhaps you're right. In fact, yes, you must be right. You've lived longer than I have. And if you've known him and he's been here longer, then perhaps you should reintroduce me to him and we could start over.
He may not know. I did not meet him before he lived here. If he was born here in Barovia, he may not even know the history that you speak of. Or perhaps he was there standing in the front.
Right. Well, change happens. And she tries to be like chipper, but I'm pretty sure her vocal range is not in a higher pitch. So she kind of takes her knife, do a little like, well, that, but it's just so mechanical. And so she stops. Yes, one step at a time, right? That's how changes are made.
Oksana, how's the cake?
Oh, I've been eating it. As soon as I brought it, I thought I was eating it before, but it was very good. I appreciate your great host.
I'm very pleased. I was not 100% sure that Cyrus would be able to pull off such a meal in such a short amount of time, mostly by himself, but with just a few unseen servants, he's really put together all this. It's incredibly impressive.
Yes, although I will have to say that the cake,
and she's reflecting what she knows from the Abbey.
the cake is not actually perfect. So if he made it, it's not perfect. So I'm just saying we are becoming.
Oksana, no one is perfect.
She just looks at him like, bullshit is perfection. We are always striving for perfection, are we not?
Striving, yes, but one never achieves that sort of thing. It is the journey, not the destination.
So we need to let our grotesque people know.
I'll be 100% honest. Cyrus is a wonderful butler. I completely lied to him and tricked him into doing it. He believes that after 10 years' service, it was 5, and then I saw how good he was and I made it 10. But after 10 years' service, he believes I will restore him and his family to perfection. I have absolutely I haven't the faintest idea how to do that. I am not even as good at the abbot as, what would you call it, grafting? I'm not even sure what you would say. But I hope to get 10 good years out of it, that is for certain.
Well, what I have learned from you is you're continuously telling us that you do not lie. So would you say you are lying to Cyrus?
Gosh, you've got me. I am totally lying to him. 100%. That's such a shame. By admitting to one lie, I've now called into question everything I've ever said to you. Now you'll not believe anything I've undone. By being honest, I have undone our trust. Such irony. Well, now that we've all finished our cake, I think it is time for the tour. I would not bring you to such a magnificent place without showing you some of the highlights. We certainly cannot go in all the rooms, it is not possible. But before I send you on your way, perfectly healthy, I would like to show you around a bit. He will stand and push in his chair. And he'll say, we'll be going out this way. He'll point to a door that is not the door you came in, but a door in the other direction.
Is Rahadan still in the room?
He is not. He served dessert and he is now left.
Do we get a sense that he's the one leading the tour and that's it? Or are we going to have...
You do get that sense.
But Ireena says,
I can't wait. One more question. Have you always lived here, even before the change you had?
No, when I was born, our family had lost virtually all of our entire empire. So my father was King Barov II. King Barov I was the one who built our empire, including this valley. And it was after the conquering that there was a foundation here called the Pillar Stone of Ravenloft. This predates me. This goes all the way back to King Dostron, I imagine. But upon taking this land, that was when I started constructing all the rest of it. I wanted it to be worthy of my father to rule from this seat.
I could understand that. Wanting to be worthy of what your father started.
Yes, unfortunately, my father never actually got to see it. When my conquest was complete, I sent word home to my family, and my father, my mother, and my younger brother, Sergei, who I'd never met. They were actually traveling here to take up residence here in the castle, which was, again, not what you see now. It was still under construction, as it were. But my father died suddenly along the way, and as his heir, I took over his armies and everything else.
Does any of this sound familiar to Ireena?
The name Sergei was very prominent in I think it was Lady Lovina Wachter was writing about basically the night that Strahd went haywire. The night when he becomes a vampire is the day of Sergei and Tatiana's wedding.
Right, and we have
So the name Sergei you would remember.
Right, and we have his journal and all of that. I'm just wondering if as he's speaking, she's recalling if she was there. Does that make sense? Is that part of her past? Would she know that? Because of the whole...
It's 1,000 years ago.
But he's saying that she's... How did he actually say she's his... Because as a player, I recall us going, so it's a reincarnation. And so Ireena was trying to remember as much as she could. So I'm wondering if she's having any sort of...
I wasn't thinking so, but now that you have the idea that she should be. So do you want to ask me that? Just sort of, is Ireena remembering anything when he tells this story? And then I'll have you roll.
But do we not want this in there?
No, that's why I'm having you, for the camera, I'm having you ask. Go ahead and make either an insight check or a history check. You can choose.
Oksana is right next to her and is holding her hand this whole time. It doesn't make sense for her to know. I rolled, so it's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. I think that Ireena would have sort of an emotional and a sense memory when she hears this story. She doesn't remember facts or people, but I think she would have very strong feelings of fear. I think she would have strong feelings of revulsion.
Is this the first time that she has been triggered into a sense memory from Strahd?
Yes. I would say absolutely yes. He hasn't talked about the past much. Other people have, but he hasn't.
Does that sound? Well, that's quite a story. Would you like to lead the way? She's obviously sweating.
Certainly. He'll walk and open the door, look toward the three of you.
Silith is walking in first.
Oksana is sitting back. She unbuttons her little vest that she's got on it. She's like, I am so full. I don't know if I can make this. Maybe I'll take a break, catch up with you later. I'm sure your servants will know where you are. Things aren't going well.
All right. Yes, of course. I will ask you not to leave this room. However, you will likely not catch up to us on the tour, and many things lurk in the dark corners of this place. It would be a real shame were we to lose the light of your company so soon.
Yes.
When we are about to end the tour, I shall send Escher to fetch you, and you may all depart with your comrades.
Ireena hears you say Escher, and she has a reaction to his name.
Oksana, this is so good. The food was great. I just ate too much. I will wait. I will not do anything you say not to do. Have fun.
Very well. Come.
Ireena goes.
Silith and Ireena, you are taken into a room, and he'll say, a hallway, and he'll say, my eyes are well adjusted to the dark, of course, but perhaps yours are not. There are torches if you need them.
Does Ireena need a torch?
Ireena would need a torch.
Ireena lifts up and takes the torch.
Silith has dark vision and blinks her eyes, and maybe when the torch hits, there's like, the reason I think of Drow as having like eyes, there's like a refractory lens that kind of looks over, so her eyes come like weird little glow to them.
You will head down what would be a pitch black hallway. There are cobwebs all over it. Along your path, there's a full statue of a knight, or at least the armor of a knight kind of facing inward. As you're walking, he'll say, this castle was built over 400 years ago. We built it right on top of an existing fortress. I already said some of this. Let me go back. As I was saying in there, the castle was not here when we arrived. We built it. When I conceived of it, I put out a call to all the finest architects, engineers, mages from every corner of the empire, and they all came. As you continue into the next room, Oksana, the door shuts behind, and you are now in the dining room alone.
Attempt to cast message to Sasha.
Sasha, it is girl. We just met each other, but I'm here alone. Let's figure this out, you ally.
Where do I go?
She'll say, go to the organ and press the 6th pedal to the left.
She goes over to the organ and burps because it wasn't quite a lie, to be quite honest.
And then she sits down and assertively presses the
6th.
What is it, pedal?
6th pedal to the left.
Because she has never learned music in her entire life. And she's just like, yes, I pressed the pedal. I did it.
As you vigorously press the pedal, you hear a click, and there's a secret door behind the organ, and it pops open. The organ's not too far away from the wall. The door does open just enough for you to get through it, however.
Do I notice anything? A different smell, a different
I'll make a perception check.
humidity? I rolled a 5, so I guide myself. 7. Freaking the tabs. And I don't even have. Come on, bro. What is it? Investigation or perception?
Hey, no, you look in there and you can see in the dark, but it just looks like an empty killer space.
She's really tempted to hit another pedal, but she knows that it is probably not
A good idea. So she gets up and pokes her head in and messages.
all right. Did the musical thing. Something opened. What next?
Next, you come in. As you're walking in, you can see that you're sort of entering like an archer's post. And there's a little sort of arrow slits in the walls, for the archers to shoot out. More interestingly, you notice that almost all of the walls here are completely covered with mirrors. Some are small enough to fit in your pocket. Some are larger than you are. But it's as though they've all been put in here and they've all been kind of nailed up in what is a very disorganized fashion. As you're noticing this, you hear from the ceiling, were you followed?
No.
Do I see?
You see Sasha spider climbing across the ceiling.
Ooh, Oksana would like to spider climb up there with her.
She'll look and sort of the closest she's come to a smile. And she'll say, so, have you come to steal from the castle?
I don't think so. Have we?
Yes.
Well, it depends if it's good stuff. Can
I trust you? I think we've got to trust each other at this point, don't you think?
Right. She's crouching on the ceiling. She's going to stand up with her hair completely straight above her or below her.
I think we're supposed to find a dragon head, a dragon skull, and anything else of note.
I know much that could help you, but you must promise to do something for me. She'll also stand, and as she does, her veil falls away, just like your hair did. And her hair along with it, long, lustrous, lovely dark hair. She's a very young looking face. Looks like whenever she was turned to a sponge, she was not very old. And she'll say, you must do something for me, though. There is a prisoner here. Her name is Gertruda. She's a villager from Barovia, and she was taken on the road to Vallaki. She's alive for now, but I fear for her life should she linger any longer in this keep. She's asked me to help her if I can, This was a request that until now I had no hope of fulfilling. If you will promise to help Gertruda escape with her life, I can give you contents, layout, inhabitants. I don't know everything, but I know much, including when Strahd will be gone from here, and you have the best chance of succeeding in your heist.
The word heist, she literally gets goosebumps.
Like, heist. What? I will certainly help you. This is someone I have heard before, and I believe my friend would like me to help them as well.
Very well. I will tell you whatever you ask. Let's go ahead and cut back to the tour. Silith and Ireena, Strahd brings you into what seems to be an ancient chapel. It's completely destroyed. The stained glass windows are all broken and boarded up. There's a lovely domed ceiling, or it used to be lovely, but now there's cobwebs and there's bats flitting around it. On the west wall, there's a balcony. It's about 50 feet up, and it looks like on the balcony there's 2 thrones, which would be looking towards the front of the church, which would have an altar. The altar seems in good shape, but the pews are all thrown around, and it's obvious this place has just been completely neglected.
There are 2 thrones. Is it a chapel like with the pews, or is it more?
It is a chapel. The pews, though, are just kind of over and thrown about. It looks like a tornado hit it.
Are there any effigies or any statues of any religious figures here? Anything that's still intact?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
I think Ireena is also looking at her, knowing that she's trying to perceive what's going on.
14.
If Ireena is helping you look, that would be advantage for you.
Yeah, that's 14 is going to be my better of the 2.
The altar is carved with what look like grapevines, sort of angelic figures on it. Based on everything that you've seen the whole time you've been in Barovia, it's almost certainly is a temple to the Morning Lord, or it was at the time.
So Lilith is trying to buy time, but she also is interested in some of these things. And she's going to walk between some different pews, and she's going to go to one in the front row that's been turned over. And if it's not completely broken, write it. So
you can write it.
So she goes ahead and corrects it. She doesn't say anything, was paying attention during the dinner. She looks around. You must have many memories here.
I do. In fact, I perfectly recall the day that the prefect, Cyril Romulich was his name. And he was the first to dedicate this hall to the glory of the Morning Lord. I remember each man and woman that day had such faith in the power of this consecration. And yet you can behold what it has become. Strahd says, "So, Lady Silith, you said that this Lolth was the god which gave you your powers. Real, actual faith in her?"
Yes. I don't really have any other options. It is very kind of you to be intrigued in my faith. She's trying with the small talk.
Is it not an option to just not have faith in any sort of god?
If you like the choice of death, the Underdark, then yes. There are those who do not follow law, but if they do, they're smart to keep their mouth shut. She has all power.
This Underdark is intriguing. It's so chaotic, and yet there's so many rules. I've never found much use for faith in other things or creatures. Far better it has been for me to place my faith entirely in myself, to master my own fate without reliance on anyone else. Do you disagree?
No. It must be nice to have that much power in your life, and life that you can solely rely on yourself.
It's hard to distinguish. I believe I had this sort of faith in myself before I had the power that I have now. I think it is the faith in myself that has brought me that power, rather than the other way around.
Right. Silith does not like this conversation, and she's doing everything she can to deflect as best she can.
Would Ireena know that? Would it be very clear?
I would think if you've been traveling with her, I would think you'd probably pick up on body language, or cadence is changing. She's also asking a lot more questions instead of remaining silent, so she's trying to fill the space. I'm going to bring this up, and if we don't want to do it, we don't have to. But I don't know how much Silith has heard about Sergei.
We can bring it up.
Totally.
All right. You mentioned, and she's looking over at if there's any paintings or any holy relics kind of hanging on the walls still.
Not in this room. It looks like everything's been. Although you do see a couple of spots where the wall's slightly discolored, as though something was there at one point.
So she is going to direct her eyes towards that and avoid eye contact. This is just coming up, and she's just thinking about it. You mentioned you had a brother?
I did, yes.
He must have been really happy to see you when you came back, right? You said you were gone for some time.
I did not ever get to go back. He came here, in fact. He and my mother, his bride-to-be. He was handsome. He was very courageous, very strong. He was actually very devoted to the Morning Lord. So it is fitting that you asked this question in this room.
I'm not sure if I should be here for this conversation. Should I leave?
No, not at all.
Still have sense any? Oh, sorry.
I think I'm wondering too.
Once again, I'll have Ireena make an insight check.
Should I just keep doing that and let you know? This 16.
She feels a fairly strong stirring of romantic love. She doesn't really know who it's for.
And what did he explicitly say, you are mine and you are? So would she know that the wife or the bride-to-be of Sergei? We can keep this out.
She would. The story of Sergei and Tatiana, as related to someone else, was told in the genealogy book that you found at the Wachter house. Yep.
So did you want to?
I was just going to follow up and see if she noticed Ireena's discomfort.
Was the reflection of everything that's in here from your anger?
No, this one wasn't me.
Sergei?
No, it was definitely not Sergei either. I think it's time to go ahead and move on. He'll turn and he'll start to walk.
As they're walking out, Silith is going to put her hand on Ireena's wrist, and then she mouths sorry and keeps walking.
Oksana. Ireena will just indicate that everything's fine. It's okay. Almost like we knew this was going to happen. And we came this fly is all over the place.
We'll cut back to Oksana and Sasha. And Sasha will say, all right then, what have you come here to take?